Woo! Okay, y'all. Mercury retrograde. Yeah, Mercury retrograde. Welcome to Mercury retrograde. A boob job. Look at all of this. Okay, we'll see how it goes, y'all. We'll see how it goes. Okay. I'm here. So, welcome to this week's Sunday Morning Coffee with Caryn. Can you hear me? That is the real question. Chase, can you hear me? So frustrated. Yes, you can hear me. Yes, we can. Yes, we can. Yes, we can. Oh my God. Guys, do you see all this fancy that I have now? Because I was on YouTube and I had to get all this fancy stuff, and then I tried to figure it out for before this started, and now we're starting 20 minutes behind. But welcome to Mercury retrograde, y'all. Normally that shit doesn't affect me, but Saturn in retrograde is happening, and Saturn's in my 11th house in Sagittarius, so all of my tech issues already happen all the time. So we'll just go with it. Let's start at the beginning, shall we? Let's start at the beginning. So I'm back. Hi. This week on Sunday Morning Coffee with Caryn, we are going to be talking about the adoration of the divine masculine. And I was going to do this last week for Father's Day, but we ended up going on a hiatus, the little couples retreat, and so I moved it to this weekend instead. And last weekend on Saturday before we left, I did that amazingly powerful solstice dragon invocation for y'all. So, like I said, we're talking about the adoration of the divine masculine, and what I'm really going to be focusing on is the 3 ways that everyone can get an injection of inspiration on a daily, hourly, minute-by-minute basis. And those are those injections, when you're talking about the divine masculine injections, that always lead us to take those massively terrifying actions that not only change our lives, but change the lives of our family and our clients and the communities in which we live in, and that vicariously actually heals the world. So I'm all about doing all of that microcosm work within ourselves and watching the ripple effect go out into the rest of the world. That's what true super consciousness and super conscious living really is a step-by-step process which teaches you how to be fully in alignment with your own unique frequency so that you can create the future of your dreams. And the future of your dreams is gonna be like Star Trek mixed with Moana, mixed with just the most beautiful, amazing place where there's no racism, no classism, no poverty, no hunger. Everyone has an access to education. Everyone is really getting that full ability to not only survive through their human existence, but truly thrive and to really know who they are as a fractal of God, know themselves as what they are, which is truly a creator, a God in form, and to really and honestly be able to know how they serve in the world. And how you serve in the world, honestly, is being your full, fearless, authentic self and singing your new song, your frequency, as loud and as bright and as brilliant as possible. Because when we do that, as Marianne Williamson says, we unconsciously liberate others and allow them to do the same. So you will never see me playing small. You will never see me being quiet. You will never see me ever doing anything that is outside of the integrity of the supreme standards that I hold for myself and for my family and for my clients. Not in a drill sergeant way, but in a I've been through the ringer and I know what is acceptable and what I will let in and out of my energetic field, and what is absolutely that I'm not available for anymore, such as, extreme depression and anxiety and fibromyalgia and suicidal thoughts and overwhelm in empathy and burnout and yelling at my kids and all of the things that I used to do that I don't do anymore. And not only do I not do them, I don't even think about doing them. Being super conscious and living in the high vibe, blissed out state that I am, that you see me in here, this is exactly how I would be if you came over to my house for tea. I promise you that. I literally don't know how to turn this off. There used to be an off switch. That shit broke a while ago. We're also going to be talking about today the number one fallacy that's being taught right now about the divine masculine. I had a nice conversation with an alpha dragon earlier today, and he gave me a message straight from his mouth that is the truth about how the divine masculine is truly here to serve us, our own divine masculines, knowing that our divine masculine and our divine feminine are not separate from ourselves, and we can't really even fully separate them from each other. It's that dragon energy, that kundalini energy. There needs to be the alpha and the omega for you to have the fullness of a pack, right? Of a full life. But first, can we do a little bit of housekeeping? And I'm going to check in on these comments. Dun, dun, dun. There's an odd sound in the background. All right. Is that better? I had my mic like up a little bit, but it might have been too close to the fan of my computer. So let me know if that's better. Okay. So housekeeping. So why am I doing housekeeping? Because I haven't been on a Facebook Live in a month, y'all. I usually do go Facebook Live at least once a week, if not more, giving you all of the tidbits, all of it. You know, pop it in with my vocal activations, dragon invocations, messages that I have from the universe, and of course all of your super conscious living solutions to be able to live your life in the highest vibration possible. Really, 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 really getting uncomfortable and then getting super comfortable with being uncomfortable. And that's really what Gay Hendricks calls your zone of genius. If you've ever read The Big Leap, that's what I'm all about. I actually read that book this month and it changed my life because I realized that I had tapped into all of that on my own already, and every single thing that I heard from him was just a confirmation of the life's work that I've been doing and that I continue to do every single day. So even though I haven't been on Facebook Live, which is literally the number one way that I get all my conversions, is you guys engaging, seeing all my super fans out there. Hey Chase, hey Caryn, hey Aaron. You know, I still had the best month of my business ever. I still was able to get insane clarity on how I want to be able to grow my membership group to over 1,000 people by the end of the year. I am still on track to hit $1 million by the end of the year. I reconnected with my husband after going through what I thought I was going to literally get divorced at the beginning of June, and now we are closer than we ever have been in our relationship. My kids are actually getting along, knock on wood, and really I'm thriving even more. So I'm pretty sure that whatever reason I needed to be off of Facebook this month, there was one. You can catch all the replays over on YouTube. I will make sure that the link is there for you. I might even put them up here just as videos and try to reorganize a little bit here on Facebook, so all the Sunday Morning Coffee with Caryn live streams are in their own little album. So because of this, I also have over 1,500 new friends on Facebook, guys. Like, that's insane. I had under 2,000 when I lost Facebook Live abilities, and now I have over 3,500. It's freaking crazy. But I wanted to start with a little introduction. So bear with me, those of you who already know who I am. Let's let those of you who don't know who I am have a second to really hear it straight from the horse's mouth. So who am I? Well, I am Caryn Terrace. I'm the Dragon Doula. I am a super conscious leadership mentor, vocal activator, community leader, revolutionary activist, and I'm also a homeschooling mom of 3. Before the whole COVID thing, I was homeschooling, wife, and badass magician, if I do say so myself. I empower those who are highly driven and conscious to fully commit to the metamorphosis of how we lead our lives, our families, our communities, and causes, using everyday practical magic to create the future that we are happy to leave our children with. I guide my clients to cross that bridge from silent genius to global luminary. People who are no longer afraid to have the spotlight on them. The people who are no longer afraid of their past coming out of the skeletons, coming out of the closet, and somehow ruining what they've been doing. They are able to stand up and do whatever it takes, no matter what, to achieve their dreams. And their dreams are big. I mostly work with those who are merging their metaphysical and their scientific minds. People like me, who maybe you were raised on Star Trek, so when you got your first iPhone, it really wasn't that big a deal because you've been seeing Picard on his tablet touchscreen since you were 4. And also probably hung out with the mermaids and the fairies and the dragons, and maybe you were a little bit too into Harry Potter. Maybe you were waiting for your Hogwarts letter. I also work with those of you who are in any age in between. I've had clients who are as young as 22 and those who are in their 60s. I really am one of those old souls that connect deeply with people no matter where they are on their transformational journey, because I have lived 80,000 consecutive lifetimes here on Earth, serving my mission here as the keeper of the Dragon Gateway, activating golden dragon leaders, or who I call energetic Olympians, to truly, truly step out and be those super conscious leaders that we need in this world as we work through the ascension revolution. So it's not just the ascension of Gaia here, because she's doing that all on her own, putting us in timeout when we need to, but truly, how are we all going to really create and build in this reality that dream life, that utopia that we all have? I really do believe that we can live the life that John Lennon sings about in Imagine if we're willing to put on our bootstraps and do the frickin' work. And that work starts by looking in the frickin' mirror, y'all. And that's what I have been doing for a couple of years now. Let me tell you though, a couple of years ago, I was not this bright, bubbly, audacious chick you see in front of you. I was super depressed. I was super anxious. I was ridiculously overweight. Maybe not ridiculously, but to my standards, I was not okay with where my health was at all. I had no stamina. I couldn't play with my kids. I had been diagnosed with fibromyalgia when I was 21. I had PTSD. I had degenerative arthritis. My MRI scans looked like a 70-year-old. I had been suicidal since I was 7. I just did a whole post on this earlier today, so I'm not going to go into all of it, but y'all, I have been through the fucking ringer. And I have so many ways that I can help you. I have this whole metaphysical toolbox filled with all of my training as a structural alignment body worker, going through school almost to get my psychology degree and then quitting. Mostly everything that I did was in the medical field. I quit right around the time they start teaching us about insurance, because I have a moral, I hate insurance companies. So I just couldn't do it. But I have that whole wealth of knowledge inside of me, even if I don't have the fancy degree or the student loan debt, let's be honest. And what am I doing with all of this knowledge? Well, not only do I have my own company as a super conscious leadership mentor here as a transformational coach for y'all, but I'm actually planning to run for and win, of course, the presidency of the United States of America in 2024. Yes, in 4 years, when I am only 35 and a half. I know that sounds crazy, because I'm going to do it with all my woo-woo awesomeness shining out, and my freak flag is going to be flying, and you know that thing is going to have a dragon on it. And even if I don't, I can tell you that every day that I wake up, and that's the timeline that I'm living, I am creating such amazing magic in my life and meeting the most incredible people and helping so many men and women around the world to stop living in the unconscious to conscious transformation of caterpillar to butterfly, caterpillar to butterfly, caterpillar to butterfly, and breaking out of the cage of society, busting past not just the glass ceiling, but the glass globe, breaking the snow globe open and allowing every person to truly and fully connect to their wildest, most audacious dreams and live them out loud, again, so that we are unconsciously giving others permission to do the same. Not only do I want to be president of the United States, I want to be a Grammy Award winner. I want to be an Oscar winner. I want to be a Tony winner. You know what? Let's just throw in the whole EGOT and I will win it all. I want to be able to start nonprofits that really, truly end poverty. I don't understand why Americans are able to throw away as much food waste as could literally feed every single person on the planet that is starving. I am just like Baby from Dirty Dancing. Can you please box this up and send it to Africa? Thank you very much. So, enough about me though, okay? Whew, that was a lot. Let's check these comments, shall we? Dun, 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 dun. Go Caryn, freak flag fly. I need to get to feeling. Oh yeah, overwhelm is a killer for sure. The best way the best way to really deal with overwhelm is being able to breathe into the sensation and remember that you are the one creating your life. Literally every single moment of your life, you can decide, okay, I'm overwhelmed. And physiologically, that overwhelm, that anxiety, that heart pounding, face flush, like kind of sweat, that's the same physiological response as turn on, as like sexual drive. So the creative energy that we're taught when we're children is second chakral energy, and that's the same as sex energy. So when you start relating that second chakra, that sexual energy, not to the act of procreation, but to creation energy, then you really, the overwhelm just starts to like fizzle away, because you realize that everything that's happening in your life, you're creating it. So are you going to be blissed out about it, or are you going to feel gross about it? I, for one, choose blissed out 10 out of 10 times. But, okay, 9 out of 10 times. The 1 out of 10 times, I probably take about 10 minutes to cry myself for a little bit, do all of my things that I need to do, and then choose bliss. A lot faster. I used to take weeks to process things. Like, I would have been just dying during this whole retrograde season, even 2 years ago, because like I said, I've only really been on this huge transformational journey really my whole life, but like having a business and teaching it and all of those things for the last 3 years. Even 2 years ago, I was having intense gastrointestinal issues. Every time I up leveled, would take like weeks to recover. And then at one point was like up leveling so quickly that I was pretty much living on a brat diet, which is bread, rice, applesauce, and toast. And then I would like be able to eat regular food for like 2 days, and then I'd go through another up level. And then I realized that it's my body, and I can decide if that's what I'm going to deal with. And I process within a couple hours, and it's usually a really good night's sleep and a couple of naps. But I definitely know what overwhelm is, because I lived it my whole life, really. I haven't been overwhelmed and anxious and depressed really for only about 18 months, and I'm going to be 32 this year. So I know it. I know it. I know it. So really quick, just before we jump in, just 2 more real fast things, because I want to get them out, and I haven't been able to talk to you guys about it in, like I said, a month, and then I promise we're going to jump right into today's topic. So this week, over 100 of you registered for the Naked Mirror Mantra Masterclass, which is where I teach you the step-by-step method of how I lost half of my body mass in 10 weeks, completely healed my bloodline, all ancestral wounds, past life traumas, all of that, connect to my divine mission as the keeper of the Dragon's Gateway, which I told you is activating golden dragon leaders, aka energetic Olympians, to lead the world from a super conscious realm of possibility using mirror work and shadow integration. Whew. It was intense. It was amazing. I think there was about 40 of you who showed up live. There was a bunch of issues getting the link out to all of you, etc. And I had promised a replay, so some of you didn't even come on at all, thinking the replay was going to come. And just like today, with what we just dealt with, Mercury retrograde kicked my ass. So I'm going to be hosting an encore event. And let me put that here in the comments for y'all. I just want to make sure that you have it right here. So if you want to be able to come to that, here's the link for that. It's going to be this Friday, July 3rd at 6 p.m. Mountain, which is 8 p.m. Eastern. That is July 4th at 10 a.m. Sydney, Australia time, because I know there's a lot of you guys down in Australia that watch me as well. So you lucked out that it was a 4 o'clock show tonight, because today sometimes it's like 2 a.m. for y'all. Okay, so finally, the final little thing I want to talk about is the fact that the masterclass was the kickoff event for the doors opening to super conscious leadership, which is the only place that you can get the step-by-step process, the cornerstone course, Super Conscious Living, which is the course that I created, which is that step-by-step process that I was telling you about already, that got me from having fibromyalgia to not having a single flare or symptom in over 2 years. That got me from being a size 14 to a size 2 in 2 years without doing anything crazy except for no longer being a vibrational match for meat or dairy 95% of the time. Sometimes if I'm at a real good barbecue, you might see me sneaking a little something, but not inside of my house. Okay, maybe sometimes. I'm all about life. I'd rather be a whole person than a good person, as Carl Jung said. So I'm never going to put myself in a box 100% ever. I am much more like a Metatron's cube, right? A little bit of something, a little bit of everything all together. Super conscious living, though, it is that step-by-step process of living your life in alignment with your unique frequency. Again, singing your own song and being the biggest, baddest, most brilliant version of you. So to join Super Conscious Leaders, this is the paid membership group that I have for those who are really wanting to embody super conscious living and practical magic in the way that they are leading their lives and their communities and their businesses. There's a monthly fee of $97 per month or an annual fee of $1,000 per month. You guys, it's such a good deal. The monthly membership includes access to the course, the weekly live trainings. You get access to the Dragon's Vault, which is all of my masterclasses, everything. So I release replays for masterclasses for 48 hours and then they get put into the Dragon's Vault. So only those inside Super Conscious Leaders have access to them always. And you're also getting a whole lot of bonuses right now if you join before July 1st. And the annual, what makes that one so amazing is that you're getting like 2 months for free essentially, plus you get all these bonuses. I'm giving away a bespoke dragon invocation, which is a reading with this dragon oracle deck that I pull from, and your own vocal frequency activation, healing, and cleansing. You get a 60-minute catalyst call with me, so one-on-one call, which is $1,000 value in and of itself, and a whole bunch of other stuff. So let me just copy that in here, and then we're gonna jump into today's topic. Okay, like, whew. Sorry, these would have been all different lives if I had been able to go live, you know. Okay, so here we go. Whew, it's hot. As I drink coffee, so funny. Okay, so adoration of the divine masculine. So these are the 3 ways that everyone can receive that injection of inspiration. Why do I say injection? Because let's think about, like, what do the men do? They inject. And inspiration, that actually comes from a term that means the divine. So let me inspire definition, because I really love the definition of the divine. Or sorry, of the word inspire. So the word inspire can mean to breathe, to inhale, to fill someone with the urge or ability to do or feel something, especially to do something creative, to create, animate one person's, there was inspiration definition. Should have had this pulled up for you already. Oh, there we go. A sudden, brilliant, creative, or timely idea typically related to the divine. Being inspired, especially when evident to something, a process of being mentally stimulated or to do or feel something, especially something to do creatively or with the divine. So again, when I talk about that creative energy, that divine energy of that moment where the masculine and the feminine meet each other and we do something, and that creates something new, right? So let's start with number 1, okay? Because it's the one that you guys are probably assuming, so let's just go there. So what do I mean by adoring, first of all? When I mean adoration of the divine masculine, I was going to do this, like I said, last week, or maybe I said that on the last one, I don't remember. I was going to do this last week for Father's Day here in the US, but I ended up taking a little 36-hour hiatus with my husband. Had a crazy time doing some mushrooms in the canyon of life. I had a massive ego death. And you could go more into it, but I won't because we're already running behind. I have somewhere to be in like an hour and a half. But essentially what happened was I kept trying to make this weekend more than. So like, oh, let's get all of the different kinds of food, and that way we have all these different choices when we're down there. We were literally gonna be gone from 10 o'clock in the morning until like 4 o'clock in the afternoon the next day. So not very long. And I bought enough food for probably like 3 days worth of food. And I also brought like a ridiculous amount of campus, and I found magic mushrooms. and decided to be microdosing, but didn't tell my husband because he was acting like he didn't want to. But he didn't want to because he had made a decision that he wasn't going to do them, and he wanted to just like watch me and hang out with me. But he didn't tell me that. So I was playing out this like bad girl, I'm gonna get in trouble. It's one of my kinks. It's one of the things that I know is a repetitive pattern. When you guys hear me say kink, I'm talking about an existential kink, the practice by Caryn Elliott, which is really a really intense version of shadow work where you take all the bad versions of you, like having, you know, wanting to get in trouble, and instead of being like, oh, nobody wants to get in trouble, which is what your ego says, being like, oh yeah, okay, this is what I did these things so that I could play this out. So again, that overwhelm, you no longer feel bad about bad choices because there was just a choice that you made to learn a lesson in that moment, and you wanted it, whether consciously or unconsciously. And the more you can merge those unconscious thoughts into your conscious, you create a more unified will. And that's what leads to that constant stream of miracles, which is what I define as super conscious living. When you're really like, you couldn't even explain to the everyday person how your life works because it's so like audacious and miraculous that they're gonna tell you that you're a freaking liar, but you know that it's true and you don't care, so you're gonna just keep telling everyone even though you sound like a crazy person. Like marrying the boy next door and having 3 amazing kids and having an almost $1 million business and all of the other things that my life is now, when if you had known me 4 years ago, there's just no freaking way. There's no way I could have ever even imagined the life that I have now, and the people that I've met and the connections that I've made, and the fact that I'm openly here talking to you about how I was talking to this dragon earlier today, which we'll get to in a few minutes. So when I talk about adoring the divine masculine, this is where it comes from. Really and truly, I was on this mushroom trip and my dog needed to pee, and I like got him out of the car right as the mushrooms hit real hard. And he pulled me over to a carcass, essentially, and started rolling around in it, and I like couldn't handle it. I just started crying, and I was like, I'm just ruining everything. My husband was looking at all the rocks and thought that they were amazing, and I just had this realization that I was trying to make this vacation so much more than it needed to be, because I didn't need anything else. I didn't need to even be on the vacation. I don't ever need anything more than me, but I can improve my life by having an awesome husband who wants to just go away for 36 hours and just be with me. Doesn't need to get drunk, doesn't need to do mushrooms, doesn't need to do anything bigger. We ended up going home afterwards. What happened? So the carcass, and then we got in the car, we drove a little further, we got out, we're walking around this canyon of life, which is down in Fremont area, the Fremont Indian State Park down in Utah, Monroe, Utah. And the canyon of life is this story on there's this rock art on this canyon where it's actually 3 slot canyons. So there's one slot canyon that faces the east, that the Fremont Indians believe that there were only 2 goddesses, and then the sun. And that the sun injected the goddess from the east through this slot canyon, and that's how half of the civilization was born, and then the sun injected the slot canyon on the west side from the Pacific, and that's how the other half of civilization was born, and they were birthed through the middle slot canyon between the 2. So I had just seen a dead carcass. I was still coming off of mushrooms. We're at this canyon of life. These random strangers tell me this story because I was walking to the car to get some water because I was ready to just throw up and be done. And I get back to the car and I'm drinking the water, and freaking Caryn Elliott, love her to death. Again, the woman who created Existential Kink. I'm in her group Wealth right now, so I'm just really immersed in her work. One of the axioms of Existential Kink is this: having is evidence of wanting, which is something that I've been teaching for years. With, you're gonna have whatever you have in your life, you're either unconsciously creating it or consciously creating it, but you're creating it no matter what. That's the same thing. Having whatever you have in your life is what you actually want. And if what you want, what you have right now is something that you're like, no, I don't want that, then that means your unconscious wants it. Your unconscious is going to win 100% of the time over your conscious mind. So again, as you do naked mirror mantras, channeling, journaling, existential kink, other solve practices, dissolving that old cage of moving again from unconscious to conscious. That's like the caterpillar to butterfly, caterpillar to butterfly, caterpillar to butterfly. Conscious to super conscious is realizing that you live inside of this cage called society and millennia of belief systems and things literally written into your DNA, like when you hear the tiger growl, you run, where water is, you drink, sort of thing. That is the cage that you live in, and super conscious living allows you to not only just like open the door to that cage, but really dissolve the cage completely. And the sky, the universe, the multiverse is the only thing that limits you. So literally your imagination is the only thing that limits you, because quantum mechanics teaches us the second we think a thought, it's actually a reality in some part of the universe. And all we're doing is clearing the debris within our own limitations that's stopping us from having that thing. Let's check back in. So let's see where we're at with the comments, and then I'm going to give you, so the number one thing, I think I've already checked. I'm in wealth to totally resonate with you. Hell yeah. Wealth is amazing. So the number one way that we can, well, not the number one way. There's 3 ways. None of them are more important than anything else. First way that we can really start to vicariously heal the world through adoring our divine masculine, for realizing that your husband is good enough. Hearing this axiom, having is evidence of wanting. You're already tripping so hard, even if you throw up, it's not going to do anything. And in that moment, choosing a rebirth, choosing that all of the stuff that had happened earlier that day didn't matter. Like our car rental got canceled. We left 3 hours late. Ryan and I kept getting into all these stupid little arguments because I was microdosing and wasn't telling him. But when we got down to Monroe, I like shoved a whole handful of freaking mushrooms in my mouth. So I was not prepared for what happened in the canyon. But I allowed it to be an ego death. Literally just like, no, all lower vibrations are gone. All of this trying to get into trouble crap, all of these daddy issues, essentially, because it was over summer solstice on the night of, or the day of the solar eclipse. So a lot of daddy issues were coming up, right? Well, that's the first way to really start to honor and adore the divine masculine, is to heal your father wound, to heal those daddy issues, the abuse, the abandonment, the neglect. You got to go through the generational trauma. So maybe your dad was amazing, but your grandpa was an asshole, or your uncle was the one who raped you. Like anything where a male authority figure, the man. I did a whole episode while I was off, so I'll have to share it with you guys, about the inner patriarchy. So again, a part of that cage that we keep ourselves in is our own inner voice of the man who, let's be honest, would hate everything about me. Right? I'm loud, I'm big, I'm bright, I dress a little bit scantily, I swear, I talk about taboo subjects. I don't just sit home and be quiet and let my husband run the house. No way. So that's the first way that we can really start to adore the divine masculine, is to heal that father wound. And not just like by recognizing the trauma or by healing that trauma, but really and truly recognizing that your father or whoever it is that wounded you, it was a part of their story as much as it was a part of yours, but you get to rewrite that part of your story. You get to decide whether the abuse you dealt with as a little girl was something that is going to define you as a victim in your life, or if it's going to be a part of your story that you can proudly claim and say, but you know what? I went through all this and it still didn't beat me. And I went through all of that and look at me now, right? It's totally, those stories are all literally, you are the authority of your life. You are the author of your life. So one of the things I teach my clients how to do is memory rewrite, where we go through your childhood wounding and we go through like patterns within your whole life, and we rewrite that pattern into something that is no longer going to affect you in this moment of time. So timeline merging and really choosing what emotions you have attached to different stories, because your power is in your emotions. Your emotions are energy in motion from the mental realm into the physical realm. So as you can have more command of your emotions, of the energy, you can take, you know, a giant temper tantrum or a total like meltdown and refocus it so that that energy is going into creating something new, instead of just being like dispersed everywhere in as like a giant tantrum or blow up with your husband or something that didn't ever actually create anything great. Okay, comments, questions. I always so much. Thank you. Yes, I am a storyteller, aren't I? I mean, that's all I have to do is tell my story. It's the only thing I have to do is tell my story. That's it. It's just me and my experiences, and hopefully me sharing my story helps other people. And I know that it does, because I have an extremely successful business and continue to grow my community every single day and reach out to new and new people all over the world. There's 1 billion people on Facebook. As far as I'm concerned, 1 billion people are watching right now. That's great. I love it. I absolutely adore it. So the second way that we can really start to adore our divine masculine is to remember the masculine role is to provide for our needs and to protect us from mortal harm. Okay. So our divine masculine is the part of ourselves. So it's not external to us. Remember, it's a part of ourselves that is fully empowered in fulfilling our needs while keeping us safe. And it's not keeping us safe because we need saving, but because as we become more and more super conscious, we kind of forget that we're living in these mortal bodies, and, you know, we don't want to spontaneously combust or walk off a bridge because we're practicing walking on air and decide that going over a 5,000 foot gorge is the best idea. No. So the reason why I say the provide part, so your money is a masculine energy. So any money issues you have, try healing your father wounds and see how that works. The providing for, the money that provides for you. Prosperity is a masculine feeling versus abundance is a more, like, we think of like a bountiful harvest. So when I think of the word abundance, I put more of a feminine quality to it. And that's like, we're abundant, we're able to share with ourselves and with our families, maybe a few of our neighbors. But when I think about prosperous, I think about, honestly, The Great Gatsby. Honestly, when I think about prosperous, like having an overwhelm of abundance, like prosperity is abundance on crack. I put that in a masculine place because it's providing and providing and providing and providing and providing. Like, no one in my family will ever want for money ever again for any generation ever. That is my goal. And that for me is prosperous versus abundant. So my phrase for 2020 was blissful prosperity. And even though all the crazy's been going on, that's exactly what I've been experiencing. But I also almost got divorced. And I also had like 15,000 ego deaths since January. And I have completely taken my business down and back up multiple times and moved around my platform like 4 places and all these other crazy things, all these constant tests. But I know that those tests, okay, well, I'll get that in there in a minute. Just remember that the masculine role is to provide for and protect from. So you're always being provided for. And even when you feel like, oh, well, I haven't manifested this thing I want yet, it's because you're being protected in a way. Some better opportunity that's going to be more aligned is coming. And that's the reason why. Another thing is that a lot of people are still asking for really small manifestations. So this is my best analogy. Your divine masculine, also known as your magic man, you might hear me call him that, again, is not an outside force. Is not an outside force. Is not an outside force. It is a part of you that you get to connect to as you heal that father wound, heal the inner patriarchy, heal all of that generational trauma from the man. Because that's all the shadowy side. So when you're in the divine, when you have the magic man, think of it as most of you are out there asking for a 0.5 carat diamond but you've done the energetic work and have actually gotten to a point where your divine masculine could way easier provide you a 2-carat diamond. But because you haven't really fully accepted that you are worthy of having that, or you have other father wounds to heal, or you still don't want to shine so big, or who are you to have these amazing things, you're just asking for a 1/2-carat diamond. Because you've been taught with law of attraction that asking for a 1/2-carat diamond should be pretty easy because you have done all this work and you're vibrating at this level. So asking for a 1/2 diamond should be simple, but you don't get it, and you don't get it, and you don't get it. And that's because your magic man's over here like, I don't even know how to get her a 1/2 diamond, a 1/2-carat. And if I did, it would be through some pretty shady people, and I don't think that she wants to deal with those. So I'm just gonna wait until she asks for the 2-carat diamond, because as soon as she asks for that, like, I'll have that, like, boom, baby, it'll be there. So also start playing with, are you still playing too small? Are you still asking for manifestations that are really low bar compared to what you really want, because you're afraid of not getting it, or you're afraid of what test is going to come if you ask for a 2-carat diamond? Because again, what does law of attraction teach you? It teaches you if you ask for a 2-carat diamond, then that means your grandma's going to go die or something, right? There's always this like horrible thing that's going to happen, or the gastrointestinal issues, or any of that stuff, the up leveling, blah 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 blah. That's all bullshit. I am a law of attraction hacker is how I refer to it, because there is a lot of stuff in there that is not true. And a part of me thinks it was because those people who were writing that they still had scarcity mindset, so they didn't want to give all of the secrets away. I'm not like that. Literally, I have given you guys $30,000 worth of content if you join for the annual membership inside of Super Conscious Leaders, because I would rather give you $30,000 worth of content for $1,000 and change your freaking life over the next year than be like slowly like dripping it out to you. Like, oh, here's $97 here and $297 here. No, it's bullshit. Okay, so questions. How can you tell if you have done enough work to have earned the 2 carats? How can you tell if you've done it, that you ask for the 2-carat diamond and it appears instantly? That's how you know. You know, because asking for 2 carats is like, well, duh, of course I'm going to get 2 carats. Because that's where you're at right now with a 1/2 carat. You're like, yeah, I should easily be able to do a 1/2 carat, but you can't, because a 1/2 carat is actually too small. When 2 carats seems like a little bit of a stretch, not a huge one, but a little bit, that's when you should really be like right in that money sweet spot. You have to also ask yourself, do I really want a 2-carat diamond, right? So a lot of people are out there asking for things that they don't really want. It's what we've been told we want. So I have plenty of clients that actually aren't high net worth and yet are living so much more blissed out than any of my high net worth clients, and that didn't happen until they stopped chasing the dollar and started chasing their dreams. So I would just play with it. It's something that we go over a lot in Super Conscious Leaders, and that I'll work a lot with my one-on-one clients. I'm just trying to get through this because I really do have somewhere I have to go, and tech issues. Fucking hell. Okay. So, number 3. So the first, heal the father wound. 2, remember the masculine is meant to provide for and protect from. And 3, trust your divine inspiration. Okay, so how do you know if you're ready? You trust that you are. You know it in your bones. Okay, I don't talk about learning things and holding it in your heart. I teach you how to know things in your bones, because your bones are the things that are going to be left over. Thousands and thousands. I mean, unless you're cremated, but you know what I mean. We're finding bones from 10,000-year-old humans. We're not finding any other part of them, right? So learn where your divine masculine lives in your body. So let's do that right now real quick. Take a nice deep breath. Close your eyes if you want to. Just let the day go. Shake it off. And ask yourself, where does my divine masculine live in my body? So mine is like right here at my Adam's apple, actually. So I know that when I am being inspired by something, this part of my throat will get kind of warm and tingly. And if I'm about to do something or say something that's actually from ego and not from divine inspiration, it will like close off. So I'll notice like in the middle of the live stream, I'll start talking and my ego will take over, and I can feel in my throat that that's my ego talking and no longer my divine masculine. And then when I'm channeling, like doing my channeling work and connecting with dragons and inner earth beings and connecting to that intergalactic federation of light, I feel like this whole chakra is just like really, really lit up and vibrating really, really fast. It gets like cold actually, but that's because it's running really high frequency energy. But he could live anywhere. He could be in your stomach or in your yoni or in your back. So start learning where in your body you hold the most divine masculine energy and start connecting there, and start playing around with when you say different things or when you act on certain ways. Like maybe you get this you're like, oh, this is inspired action, but then you go to do it and you're like, you get that feeling in your gut like, oh, this is a bad idea. Then this time listen to it and see what happens, because it could be that your divine masculine lives in your gut, and every time you've done those things against your gut and you thought that they were inspired, oh, that's just a feeling because I'm scared, just play with it. I teach a lot about somato emotional responses like within your body, so this is definitely a bit of a nuanced thing, but it's something that's super powerful once you learn it. So, and then channel the divine masculine directly. So again, channeling, you guys, my favorite way is the way that I was taught by my coach, Krista Wiskowski. She says to take one color pen and write your question, and immediately afterwards change the color pen to a different color and write your answer. And that will start getting your brain to trust that the different color pen is whatever you're channeling. So you sit there for a moment, you take a couple deep breaths. I am connecting to my divine masculine. What I write down in green is answers from him. And you write in black your question, like, what do I have to do this month to create a $10,000 month? Then you immediately switch and you write whatever. You just start automatic writing, stream of consciousness writing, and trust and know and believe that whatever the answer is, even if it's an answer that your ego doesn't like, even if it's a one that terrifies you totally, even if it's one that doesn't really logically make any sense, that's where you start to trust, right? And then again, please, I cannot emphasize this enough. Remember that there is no separation between your magic man and you. And there's really no separation between your divine masculine and your divine feminine. But most people who find me and mentor with me, it's because they have an overabundance of divine feminine energy, have a wounded feminine energy that's still there a little bit with the not enoughness and father wounds and that stuff, and then have a very, very wounded masculine. So this is actually how I work with men and women, because the men who come to me are usually more feminine, as in they've like been the homemaker, or maybe they've been in more healer type jobs, those sorts of things that give you the more feminine. So I am very activated in my divine masculine, even though I am a woman who has birthed 3 babies out of my vagina. Okay, let's look at these questions and comments. I want to manifest a real life trip to Utah. Oh my gosh, yes, Chase, please come to Utah. I'm actually having an event, a retreat here in February for those who join my Energetic Olympians Mastermind that's opening the end of July, but only those of you that are inside of Super Conscious Leaders are even going to get access to that mastermind, because honestly, we're going to be going into the, like, beyond the fucking like, past the moon. Yeah, these are for people who are ready to shoot for the moon and land among the stars, and that means you have to have gone, like, there's a process. More on that later. Okay, so we talked about the 3 ways that we can adore our divine masculine, right? Heal the father wound, work on that shit, heal the shadow. Remember that the masculine energy is to provide for and protect from, and to really start cultivating trust by finding where that energy lives in your body and channeling it, and just knowing that there isn't a separation, that you really do have access to it. Now, let's get to this dragon, shall we? So this is the alpha dragon. He's one of the 9th dimensional dragons that I work with on a very regular basis. And harness the divine masculine power of creation. Destroy the old, visualize your dream, help to manifest a new world. This guy is like, my dragon self is black diamond titanium scales with rainbow eyes, and yeah, super intense lady. She actually like, my dragon is very androgynous and comes to me as both masculine and feminine, but for the most part shows up as like this, looks like this a lot more than anything else. But again, I'm very, very disruptive. My way of working is lightning fast. I can take people through transformations in a matter of weeks that they have been working on for years and years and years. I've had clients heal immense levels of bullshit shadows in the matter of an hour when they had been working on it for literally over a decade. So that's what he does. He's super fast. He's literally like holding, you can't really tell, but he's like holding this light quill, like he's writing, like he's just writing the earth, like being the writer of fate, essentially. So yeah, he's super powerful, and he has a message for y'all. So as I was channeling out, writing out the 3 things that we need to do to adore him, the divine masculine, I got this hit that there's actually a really big fallacy that's being taught, and I've kind of hit on it a couple of times already, but I'm going to just really push it through. So this is, I'm going to read it word for word, because this is word for word straight from the alpha dragon's mouth, and I'm actually going to hold up the picture as I read it so that you hear it. Okay. The universe does not ever, never, ever send you a test that you can't handle. The divine masculine is like the coach of an Olympic athlete. That athlete curses the coach's name, says that she hates him, cries as she falls and ices her muscles, begs him to stop as he says one more time and give it your best. That Olympic coach is also the first person that she hugs once she wins the gold. You are never being punished, only learning and growing more powerful with each fall. Every test from the universe, whether you pass it or not, is exactly what you are creating for you to come fully in alignment with who you truly are, an aspect of the Creator in full manifestation, singing your own song of truth. You are always unconditionally loved. You are always being provided for the highest possible level of growth. You are always being protected from anything that would literally kill you, because everything else might energetically kill you, might emotionally kill you, might send you through 100,000 ego deaths, but you will not literally die from all of this. You are always being guided by your divine masculine to live your biggest, brightest, and most brilliant life. Okay. Whew. Oh man. Okay, any questions at all? Okay. What do the dragons say about COVID and what's up? Oh man, Jason, I've talked about all of that on other my YouTube Dragon Magic. Sorry, my YouTube channel Dragon Magic has a lot of that on there. Let me see if I can pull it up for you real quick. Okay. So this channel is gonna have where like all the updates from the dragons. The dragons really don't give a shit if we're in lockdown and in COVID for forever, because people are not learning their lessons. Like if you look at what the beaches look like right now, it's disgusting. It's literally disgusting what humans are doing to the planet just because they're finally outside. And I hope that they all have to go back into timeout, because she put us into timeout around Earth Day. And if we have to go back in, then so be it, because humans, those people still living unconsciously, like, let me put this into perspective for you. There are 8 billion people on the planet. There are only about 80 million people who understand what it means to be living consciously. And there's only about 8 million people who truly understand super consciousness. And those are people like Deepak Chopra, Wayne Dyer, oh, he's dead, Joe Dispenza, Eckhart Tolle, Byron Katie, those types of people. And that's what I teach, is like that level of just like transcending duality and honestly not giving a fuck about these human issues that are trying to distract us from the fact that we are literally in the middle of the ascension. And we have so much more work to do than if I can have the most successful business, like, month of my entire business, months consecutively, March, April, May, and June have all built on each other during all this, then there's literally nothing else out there that I can even imagine would mess up anything. And then here's the YouTube channel for all the Sunday morning coffee with Caryn that you guys have missed over the last month while I wasn't here on Facebook. They're here. I'm gonna have my VA actually upload all of those as well, probably here to Facebook, into their own place. Okay, I think that's all I have for you guys. Let's make sure my notes. Okay, just remember that you can join the encore of the Naked Mirror Mantra Masterclass event. It's this Friday, July 3rd at 6 p.m. Mountain, which is 8 p.m. Pacific time. And that's like 10 a.m. in Sydney, Australia on the 4th. So that link is already there, KarynTerrace.com/Naked Mirror Mantra Masterclass. It's a free event. The replay will be available for 48 hours afterwards. And if you are ready to jump in and to lead your life, your family, your business, your community, your cause, and really the whole frickin' world from a super conscious state of being, then I'm really, really, really urge you to join us inside Super Conscious Leaders. I have so much in there that I'm giving to you guys. Bonuses out the wazoo. Honestly, I am giving and giving and giving because I am really being guided that this group is to reach 1,000 people by the end of the year. And right now we're still a very private group with about 50 members, and it's just going to get bigger and brighter. And as it gets bigger, I'm not going to be able to offer as much amazing bonuses like 2 weeks of coaching and all of these other things that I'm giving away in there. So make sure that if anything I've said resonates with you guys, $97 a month, you can get through the course in 3 hours. If you really hate it, then cancel. But no one's left yet. Well, 2 people left. I triggered the hell out of them, and it was a great learning lesson. And I will see you. Oh, and the early bird bonuses, let me just tell you, the doors close next Sunday. The early bird bonuses, all of those extra yummy bonuses, they end on Tuesday, June 30th at 11:59. So jump in there to get all those yummy bonuses. But if the bonuses don't excite you for some reason, which I don't know why they wouldn't, you technically have until next Sunday to register. So I'll see you all next week for episode 46, which is What is with these dragons? And I will teach you how to connect to your own dragon guides. So it's going to be super, super fun. I love you all so much. Have a beautiful day. I gotta run. I'm supposed to be up somewhere in like 45 minutes. Have a wonderful day. I love you.